Over the coming weeks, WTBR's programming may be different from what you're used to. As our staff and members do our part to combat the spread of the COVID-19 virus, you may temporarily hear an increase in rerun programming. The audio quality of some shows might not be what you're used to, or your favorite show might go on hiatus, replaced by classic rock programming. Thank you for your patience and continued support, and helping us prove that everything we do at WTBR-FM is for the love of radio.
WTBR-FM, Pittsfield.
Welcome to Ham on WTBR, the all-inclusive ham radio show for hams and non-hams alike. Be part of the show. Contact us on www.facebook.com/HamJamTV. And now the hosts of the show, Peter and Jessica. Ham on.
And here we are.
Good morning, everybody.
From our home studio. This is Ham On. We figured out a way to get us back on the air. So here we are. We're back on the air. Big show
we figured
today.
out a way to do this.
Hopefully it's going to be a little bit different. We have Skype guests, so you might hear the Skype going off when they call in. But other than that, it's pretty much going to be the same basic show. We're still in Pittsfield, still in Berkshire County. We're still on WTBR-FM. I'm
still going to throw my host under the bus.
That's an everyday occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we're pre-taping the show. So enjoy and hope we keep bring a little normalcy back to the social distancing going on.
Oh, I hope so, because the social distancing stuff is a little bit weird.
All right, so let's get to the trivia question for today is, who was the first ham to transmit from space via amateur radio?
I'm gonna...
And Susie's not here, so she can't Google stuff up today.
I'm gonna guess it's an astronaut, but I'm not pretty sure.
That's obvious.
But I'm not obvious.
Of course, it's an astronaut.
I mean, I'm not pretty sure who would probably be. But like I said, an astronaut. I'm trying to think of astronaut hams, and they're not coming to my mind. But we'll figure it out. So
here's what's going on locally around the place here. The cycle 2 of the Western Mass Traffic Net has been moved to 4:30. So anybody that wants to check into the Western Mass Traffic Net, that is going on at 4:30. The Skywarn presentation, the Skywarn training has been moved to a webinar. If you go to the National Weather Service Albany website, there's a sign-in for it, and then there's a drop-down menu. You can sign in and get the sign-in for the webinar, and they'll send you an email of what webinar, where you have to download and stuff.
I know Nobark had their on-air meeting last night.
Yeah, Nobark had their on-air meeting last night. They'll have another on-air meeting in April. What else is going on? Field Day. Yeah. Field Day is possibly a go. I haven't seen anything where they're canceling any of the field days out. So Field Day is possibly a go. I got enough people interested, and Susie said that she's got some people interested, and I've got Nobark interested. So as we work out and hammer out those details, we will get them to you. But in the meantime... it's back. I found it.
Yes. Even at home, I still have my news bumper music. Let me see. Ham radio. What? Broadcasters would likely call it money well spent, but it is still cash coming from the federal government's hands. The Federal Communications Commission estimate it will cost the agency at least $11 million to enforce the newly adopted law that requires it to step on pirate radio enforcement. So what, the people that go up and over people, or the people that are transmitting illegally?
Well, yeah, it's pirate radios, usually on shortwave, are radio operators who spent a ton of money to put stations together. They're not licensed operators, they're not ham operators, but they're just people who go on shortwave with transmitters, find the frequency, park on that, and play music or whatever, and they're not licensed to do so. So apparently, from your story, the FCC is going to go after those people now.
Yeah, it says specifically, in order to combat the problem with the illegal radio operators, these stature requires a sweeping process that will require new equipment and a substantial number of additional field agents to implement fully. So, yeah, they're gonna go ahead and start going after it. It was because of a law signed by President Trump last month. The Preventative Illegal Radio Abuse Through Enforcement Act, or PIRATE. They named it PIRATE. Has been approved through the Senate and the White House. The new law raises fines from on an unlicensed station operators to $100,000 per day per violation, up to a maximum of $2 million for illegal transmissions. Hey, it's about time they go ahead and start cracking down on this stuff. They're going to conduct sweeps in 5 cities where pirate radio is the biggest problem. So I'm guessing New York, LA, Chicago.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
Not necessarily.
That's what I got for news.
All right, we'll get back to your news. I forgot to mention this at the top of the show. For the people on PCTV, we are still going to simulcast this, but there's no video. So they're going to put a graphic up, and all you're going to get is the audio. But in order to keep the schedules going, it's still going to be on there. So you can catch us, audio-wise on PCTV or here on WTBR FM. What else do you got? What do you got locally? And then I'll get into some ham news if time permits before the break.
I got a few things. And also, guys, if you're hearing water running in the background, I'm sorry. That would be my fish tank. It's near our home station, which houses my 2 little goldfish, Pebbles and Bammy. Hi, Pebbles. Hi, Bammy. Senior residents will be able to pick up take-and-go meals in downtown Pittsfield. That started the Tuesday. The Ralph J. Frio Senior Center on North Street will be offering the meals between 11:30 and 12:30 Monday through Friday. Seniors who are enrolled in the Meals on Wheels program, this will really just be an extension of Meals on Wheels, guys. So they're going to be doing that until April 7th, as the municipal offices are closed until the 7th. So what exactly is that? The physical offices?
The physical offices.
Impressive. Most impressive.
In all this world of bad news we were getting, here's some good news for a change. The number of Americans obtaining their ham radio licenses is soaring as the country comes to grips with the coronavirus pandemic. Just as shoppers are hoarding necessities and food and panic buying, more people have quickly studied to become amateur radio operators to ensure that they can maintain communications with others in emergency situations and disasters. More than 765,000 in the United States already have their amateur radio licenses from the Federal Communications Commission. However, data from the FCC indicates a recent uptick in the number of new hams, especially since the outbreak of COVID-19 worldwide. In addition, hamradioprep.com, a website that teaches prospective hams what they need to know to pass their FCC tests, also has experienced a huge surge in new students in the past 2 weeks as news continues to evolve about the pandemic. In a comparison of a time period from March 5 to 13, 2020 to the same days in 2019, the number of persons signing up for amateur radio license courses on hamradioprep.com has soared more than 700%.
Oh, wow.
Since news of the coronavirus outbreak dominated headlines, at the same time, the FCC shows a 7.1% uptick in new amateur licenses in the first week of March 2020 versus the same week in 2019. So if there's any good news coming out of this is we're getting more ham radio licenses.
Yeah.
With all this social distancing, ham radio is the way to go, and hopefully we'll get some more ham radio licenses here in Western Mass and get some more people on, because I need help on Cycle 2 of the Western Mass Traffic Net, which is now on at 4:30 p.m. And I need some of your operators. Please stand up and help us out. So, because right now these traffic nets are really of vital importance during the pandemic. So, you can get a hold of me, KD2JKV at ARRL.net, and we can get you up on working on Cycle 2. We have 7 days a week open because I'm the only one that does it. So, if you want to be part of the NCS crowd and help us out while the pandemic's going, drop me an email, and we will get you going in there. And I guess you have more local news.
Well, first, congratulations on the people taking the ham test and more hams. Yay, guys! Way to go! Let's go ahead and keep this hobby going. And it's really a good hobby for those interested in science. So let's keep it going, guys. Also, on some more local news, since the state is legal for marijuana and all that, even the marijuana dispensaries are taking steps to ensure that their customers are practicing social distancing. Berkshire Roots, for example, has taped off a line outside and has placed cones 6 feet apart for people to practice proper social distancing. It's also changing the way it does business. They're asking customers to pre-order online and only visit when the store text message them that their order is ready. So anybody that needs medical marijuana, please put your order out online, and then they'll text you. Don't show up randomly. Three Wellness is also doing the same thing, and they close each night for deep cleaning. So they're taking it seriously to help their patients that do require marijuana for the pain reliever and everything. I just think it's weird how they go ahead and they have little cones, and you need to stay within the cones.
You need to stay within the cones for your 6 feet away. Hopefully we'll have a guest coming on at the bottom of the hour, but we're going to take our break, and we'll be back here with more hijinks and ham radio news.
You're listening to Ham On WTBR.
Well, you tell him that Han Solo just stole back the Millennium Falcon for good.
This is a Millennium Falcon. You're Han Solo.
I used to be.
Some knowledge belongs to us and us alone. The way our girlfriends walk, talk, touch their hair. Details that only a sister can know about her girls. But what about our other girls? The ones we carry with us every day. Our bond with our sister girls gives life. But knowing your breasts can save it. Go to knowyourgirls.org for the facts you need on breast health. Brought to you by Susan G. Komen and the Ad Council.
The Pittsfield Public Schools, the City of Pittsfield, and our many community-based partners are dedicated to the well-being of our entire community. To that end, the Pittsfield Public Schools will be providing once-a-day grab-and-go breakfast and lunch packages to children in our city. These nutritious grab-and-go food packages will be available between 11:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. at the following sites in the City of Pittsfield, weekdays through Friday, March 27th. Morningside Community School, Conti Community School, Dower Square Housing Village, the Berkshire Family YMCA, Gladys Brigham Center, Boys and Girls Club of the Berkshires, and the Brattle Brook Apartments. We are grateful to our school nutrition and transportation professionals in the school district for making this possible. We are also grateful to the Mass Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and to the Federal Department of Agriculture for making this vital service available. This has been a message from the Pittsfield Public Schools in association with WTBR-FM.
Wireless. You hear that word used a lot today. We have wireless telephones, wireless internet systems, wireless microphones. What it actually means is that they are radios. And who knows more about radios than amateur radio operators? Call them amateurs or call them hams. They know the modern wireless world. They helped create it.
Hey, I'm Haley Kiyoko, and I know what it's like to struggle with mental health issues. If you have a friend that's going through a tough time, now is the perfect moment to reach out. Learn how to start the conversation at seizetheawkward.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
And we're back on Ham On WTBR FM.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back.
So how's everybody handling the social distancing? We're social distancing. We're doing this from our house. This is the first time ever that we've ever not been live on the air.
Yeah.
We're used to three cameras pointing at us and me doing a whole bunch of camera tricks to make things look pretty. And now we're just sitting here. And watching the snow come down as we tape this show, but at least there'll be some bit of normalcy as we.
Yeah, even the weather is weird. It went from 50 to 30 now, and it's snowing. Make up your mind, Mother Nature. Stop saying hold my beer and making weird stuff happen, will you?
Hopefully this will all be over soon and we can actually get back to the studio and get back to what we do best. But
throw each other under the bus?
A program note. The Beatles show is still going on. It will be on tonight at 4 p.m. because we're taping this on a Monday. So this will be on at 4 p.m. Enjoy the Beatles show. A lot of good tunes in there. You have what? You have something else you want to stick out there?
I found some more ham radio news. Hey, since we're connected to the internet here, I might as well, Scientists created quantum sensor that covers the entire radio spectrum. Ooh. Let me see. Atoms in a glass fiber cell are excited with laser beams to Rydberg states. They detect electric fields coming from the golden antenna, and imprint the information back into the laser beams. A quantum sensor could give soldiers a way to detect communication signals over the entire radio spectrum from 0 to 100. What is that? 100 gigahertz.
100 gigahertz.
Said researchers from the Army. Such wide spectral coverage by a single antenna is impossible with a traditional receiver system. It would require multiple systems of individual antennas, amplifiers, and other components. In 2018, Army scientists were the first in the world to create a quantum receiver that uses highly excited. How do you get something really highly excited? Do you tell them you're going to Disneyland?
We can't say it on the air.
Super sensitive atoms, known as Rydberg atoms, to detect communication signals, said David Meyer, a scientist of the U.S. Army Combat Capabilities Department commands Army Research Laboratory. The researchers calculate the receiver's channel capacity and rate of data transmission based on fundamental principles, and then archive that performance experimentally in a lab and improve on other groups, resulting by orders of magnitude. These new sensors are very small and visually undetectable, giving the soldiers a disruptive advantage. The Rydberg atom-based sensors have only recently been considered for general electric field sensing applications, including a communication receiver. So it's a brand new thing that they came up with, I guess, to check the whole entire spectrum of radio.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It's crazy how they were able to make something to do that when they said it would take a whole entire different field of antennas and receivers and amplifiers to go ahead and
everybody's sitting home, so I could do it. They think of new things to do. All right, refunds are being processed for the Dayton Hamvention associated social gatherings, including Contest University, Contest Dinner, and Top Brand Dinner. Each event has its own procedures. Those who signed up for the DX Dinner will be able to obtain refunds via PayPal. An email to all registrants will provide details. This was thanks to Jim Duffy, K3LR. So, no Dayton Hamvention.
So everybody that bought tickets and everything is getting a refund for the Dayton Hamvention.
Everybody's getting tickets refunded. In an enforcement case prompted by complaints filed in 2017, the FCC has imposed an $18,000 forfeiture on Jerry W. Materney, KC5 CSG of Lake Charles, Louisiana, for intentionally interference and failure to identify. The FCC had proposed the fine in a notice of apparent liability in the case in July 2018, and based on Matern's response to the NAL, the agency affirmed the fine in a March 12 forfeiture order. As the FCC recounted in the FO, the FCC agent observed Matern causing intentional interference to a local repeater by generating digital noise into an analog radio. The agent further reported that Matern failed to transmit his call sign as required. Remember, you got to identify every 10 minutes at least. Mayturn disputed that the FCC's findings, arguing that the NAL should be canceled because the agent was mistaken in his determination that the source of the interference was Mayturn's station, as his radio was not capable of operating on the repeater frequency in question, the FCC said in the NO. Mayturn also asserted that he is unable to pay the fine and suggested in his response that the FCC should be able to access his financial information. The FCC countered that the radio the agent observed in Mayturn's possession was capable of operating on that frequency in question.
Oh boy, so
we
he
therefore
lied.
are unsuperseded that the proposed forfeiture should be canceled because he alleges he was not the party causing interference to the repeater, and the radio in his possession could not operate on the frequency in question. The FCC said in affirming the findings of the NAL, we are also unpersuaded by Mayturn's argument that he lacks the ability to pay the full $18,000 forfeiture. The FCC said Mayturn failed to provide the FCC with proof of an inability to pay as required by the NAL. The FCC gave Mayturn 30 days to pay the fine or face having the case turned over to the U.S. Department of Justice for enforcement.
Oh boy.
So the official observers and the VMs are out there working. So remember, no bad boys on the ham frequencies.
Identify every 10 minutes.
Identify at least every 10 minutes. Last week we had N2FKW on here, was our last live show, and he talked about the main potato net. We had like almost 30 people checked into the main potato net because nobody's doing anything on Saturday. So, turn on the radios. Let's get things going. Let's heat up the atmosphere and get some things going on here. Do you have any more news?
No, I do not.
This is gonna be a long show.
Oh yeah, it is.
Especially if our guest doesn't call in. We'll have to make this. Make the twerk. We'll have to make it up as we go. The Fairlawn Amateur Radio Club begins daily health and welfare broadcasts going forward. The Fairlawn Amateur Radio Club, FLARC, is holding a nightly health and welfare net during the coronavirus outbreak. Broadcasts are 7 p.m. on the W2NPT FLAC repeater, which is 145.470 with a PL of 167.9, or via the Echolink, so you can get in there on Echolink as well. The net is self-directed, and amateurs in the area are welcome to check in, stay in touch, and pass along information and support. The opening night of the net, March 14th, realized 14 members and guests check in from New Jersey and Florida. The Monday night near and far net remains unchanged, beginning at 8 p.m. at the same locations. Questions? Call Ed Fchak at 802-282-6700 or email wx2r@arrl.net. For information, please visit the club's website at www.fairlawnarc.org or call 201-791-3841. What else do we got? As being assistant section manager in Western Mass, we seriously need to get some people up and running up on the traffic nets, like I said earlier in the broadcast. This is the most crucial time. Communications people are essential. So, we need to keep the traffic nets going. If not anything, to hear the check-in to make sure everybody's okay. I have plenty of shifts open for Cycle 2, which is at 4:30 here on the K1 FFK Mount Greylock repeater, and you can pretty much get that from anywhere. Western Mass, Eastern New York. I know I've got it from the Albany area, and soon we'll have the Echolink in play. So for those Western Mass, Eastern New York, we need NCS for the traffic net. So please get a hold of me so we can.
Because you guys are hams are a source of news, so that's
communications. We're essential according to Governor Baker, so we can play. So email me at kd2jkv@arrl.net, and we'll get you going. And I'm hoping my guest calls. If not, we got another half an hour to kill somehow, some way. And we're running out of things to do. We can just kind of monologue our way through here.
Here's something new.
Oh, good. She's finding news on the fly because we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know if we have a guest. We're supposed to have a guest. Bob Heil was supposed to call in on Skype, and he hasn't called in. So hopefully, he's just running a little bit late. But we got through the first half hour. I think we can get through the second. So what do you got?
Let me see. Interim ARRL Chief Executive Officer Barry Shelley N1VXY informed members on March 20th that ARRL will remain operational to meet their needs during the coronavirus. Shelley noted that ARRL is taking steps to help protect the health and safety of the headquarter employees in line with the recommendations provided by U.S. and Connecticut health officials and government leaders. So they are finding a way to keep the headquarters open. We have arranged for many of our staff, depending on their job responsibilities and requirements, to work remotely during this unpredictable time. So a lot of the ARRL workers are doing it remotely, like we are. Woohoo! Work at home, people unite.
Except we don't work for the ARRL.
This helps the organization reduce the number of people in the building and improve our social distancing capabilities. Excuse me. At present, all departments at ARRL headquarters are functioning, and customer service representatives remain available to answer members' questions and direct them to appropriate Department of Assistance. Shelley advised ARRL is encouraging members to use email as a preferred method of communication in order to get a timely response. So if you have a question for the ARRL, please email them. Let me see. The ARRL Volunteer Examiner Coordinator. Like my
Well, no. I'm
VE.
Yeah, but I'm not in the VEC. I'm just a VE.
No, not the VEC, but you are a VE.
I got enough titles. Don't wish any more on me. It'd take the rest of the show to go through all the titles.
Yeah, it'll take you quite a few to go ahead and do that. Has been dealing with a higher than normal volume of emails and phone calls, and is asking for members' patience as they accept the answer to everybody's questions as promptly as possible. There has been some significant disruption to VE exam session schedules, given the restrictions imposed of gatherings in many local areas. As with our employees, the health and safety of our volunteer examiners is a top priority, and we have informed RVEs that they will need to follow their local community guidelines and use their best judgment when deciding whether or not to conduct, postpone, or cancel a session. So their VEs are working overtime to to figure out if they're going to do some testing or not.
Yeah, and I just ARRL sent out a thing today, Monday, that said that they're considering doing online testing, remote testing, which is good because I'm getting emails from a few people that, since they have nothing else to do, they studied for their license.
Well, yeah.
And now they want to take the test, so we're gonna.
You're stuck at home. You're stuck at home. You can't go see a movie or anything like that. People are gonna sit there and go, "Hey, I'll go for that general."
You
or,
can
hey,
see a
I'll go
movie.
for
Netflix is still running.
No, I meant like in theaters. You know.
Yeah.
Some people like to go out. Not everybody's a hermit like me.
Well, right now everybody's a hermit until this is over.
Well, the coronavirus doesn't really faze me. I was a hermit before this, and now I'm just a hermit that cleans too much.
Yeah. Right now we just don't have to go to. we sit home and do our show, and don't have to go down to the studio to do our show. Let's see, what else can we talk about? We have 20 minutes. What else can we talk about? We're thinking. We were hoping to have a guest to take care of the last half hour, and the guest never called. So we're trying. We're trying to wing the last 20 minutes here. Yes.
I'm trying to think.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think too. So, like I said earlier, we'll go by this again. Field day, as it looks now, the No Bark Field Day is still in tow, still in play. We had an on-air meeting about it yesterday. I think Susie said she's going to provide the food. We have a few operators, and even some of the people up at No Bark are going to come play. When we have details, we will put them out there. But it looks like that the No Bark Field Day here in Western Mass is a go. So if anybody is interested in coming up to the venue, and I don't know I forgot where the venue is. I think it's up in Adams. Once I get that information, we'll, of course, put that on the show. But if you want to come up and play, I'm taking call signs. I want to see get as many people as I can in on field day. So drop me an email, kd2jkv@arrl.net, and put in the subject heading field day, because I'm fielding a lot of emails. Also, remember, we are looking for NCS for Cycle 2 of the ARRL Western Massachusetts Traffic Net, which is now at 4:30 p.m. We need a lot of NCS to do that. I like to get 2 or 3 that don't mind doing a couple of shifts here and there to kind of take the burden off of me. And especially now with the pandemic, we are essential, so we need to keep on the air. We need to keep our NCS and keep our operators fresh, because you never know when we're going to get a call that we have to go and help out with something, and we need to throw a net together or something real quick like. So that's good practice for us. So drop me an email. kd2jkv@arrl.net if you are so inclined to join the NCS team, and we got a bunch of good NCS people around, and hopefully we'll have the Echo Inc. up on the repeater soon. So let's see, field day now. Skywarn training once again for the Western Mass area that was scheduled at the Berkshire Bank Community Room in Pittsfield has been rescheduled for a webinar on April 30th. So if you go to the National Weather Service Albany website and hit the little Skywarn button, it'll take you to the sign in, and you can sign in and get up with that. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be certificates that will be able to download or emailed out or something for Skywarn training. And she's getting like Susie. She's Googling stuff over here. how's everybody handling the social distancing? Drop us a line on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/hamon, and we'll put some over the air next week. Maybe next week, when we do our next show, we might, since we are doing it from home, do what I wanted to do the last time and get the radio hooked up and do some on-air talking with some people on the K1FFK repeater. I will think about that, and if I decide to do that, that will be up on the No Bark Facebook page. So look for the Northern Berkshire Amateur Radio Club Facebook page, and I'll put the time up there, and if anybody wants to get in on that, they can join us on that, because I'm pretty sure we're going to be still here. I think it's going to be another few weeks before we can get back to WTBR studios. Let's see, what else do we got? What do we have? Any other stuff here? Amateur radio came in to be okay. I have a bunch of stuff, but what do you got? Do you have anything? We miss Susie. Susie will help us throw us under the bus here. So.
I was looking up if solar. If we have any.
We have no space weather.
We have no space.
We have no sunspots. Well, we have no space weather.
I was checking to make sure. According to one of the space.
Yes.
The Space Weather Woman, there is some hope.
Yeah, well, there's some hope that we can go outside and play after all this is over, but.
So you guys still have that lonely little sunspot, then.
That lonely little sunspot.
That is like the guy. That's like the guy from the Twilight Zone. I'm the only one here.
All right, we will be back after the break, and we'll try to figure out some other stuff to kill some time.
Yeah. You listen to Hamon on WTBR.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear, because for 75 years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like, if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So be careful out there. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
WTBR-FM is listener-supported radio. That means we depend on your donations to keep the station on the air. All the local content and the music you love requires your support. You can make your donation today at WTBRFM.com by calling 445-4234 or stopping by our studio at 4 Federico Drive in Pittsfield. You'll be glad you did. Pittsfield Community Radio, for the love of radio.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hi, this is Officer Darren Derby with the Pittsfield Police Department. We all have busy lives and we're in a hurry to get where we need to go. While driving, people are eating, drinking, talking, putting on makeup, doing their hair, checking social media, texting each other, all while the dog sits on their lap. The result is running red lights, stop signs, speeding, and finally crashing. Distracted driving is illegal. You can be ticketed or criminally charged. Please share the road and pay attention. Let's make sure everyone gets where they're going safely. This message is brought to you by the Pittsfield Police Department in cooperation with WTBR-FM.
I failed you, Ben. I'm sorry. I'm sure you are. The resistance is dead. The war is over. And when I kill you, I will have killed the last Jedi. Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong. The rebellion is reborn today. The war is just beginning. And I will not be the last Jedi.
And we are back. At least with no guest, we can catch you up on all the ham radio news and local news that is news. And you...
That is news across the news nation.
The news that is news across the news nation, you came up with something from the ARRL, so...
Yes, Long Island CW Club offering free online Morse code instructions for homeward bound youngsters. So the club, the Long Island Club in New York, is offering free online Morse code instruction for many youngsters at loose ends as a result of school closings due to the COVID-19 concerns. The club's co-founder Howard Bernstein, WB2UZE, pointed out that learning Morse code is a fun and educational activity for children of all ages that can fill part of the gap left behind by current unfortunate situation that had closed so many schools across the nation. Ongoing classes will be taking place Monday through Friday, specifically for school-age youngsters anywhere across the country and overseas via Zoom online video conferencing. A computer equipped with a microphone and camera is required. Classes for elementary school students run 30 minutes starting at 16 UTC. So what, 8 something probably?
Now you want me to convert UTC, so. Go ahead. I'm not going to convert UTC.
Followed by 45-minute class. Why not? Followed by 45-minute classes for middle schooler and high school age students starting at 16:45 UTC. Parental permission is required through advanced registration. Contact class instructor Rob Zergas, K2MZ, by email or by calling 508-831-8248. So, cool. They're offering online classes for kids to learn Morse code. I'm 35 years old, and Morse code still confuses the crap out of me.
You always confuse you. First thing you gotta do is get your license.
I'm always confused. Wait a minute, hold up, wait the phone. Hold the phone here. I'm not even licensed, and I know phonetic alphabet and can write it down for your logs.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Thank you.
Even Darth Vader agrees, most impressive. Yes, but phonetic alphabet and CW are two different animals.
Yes, sir.
Like Bob said, N2...
English. You can English.
Like Bob said, N2FKW, last week. Morse code is a language in and of itself.
Yeah, I know, and if I was licensed, it would still confuse me. Because, again, I was born confused.
Everything confuses you. Get your license. Do it. Do it. Okay, we're going to take a poll. How many people that are listening, either via WTBR or via the podcast, want my co-host here to get her amateur radio license? You can drop me an email, or you can put it up on the Facebook page.
I have no filter. This will not end nice.
And we will put the results up.
I have no filter. This will not end well.
Yeah, nothing much is changing here. We're still kind of the same goofs that we are in the WTBR studio.
Yeah, except there's no camera pointing in my face. Hey.
And this show worked out a lot better. Our guest actually called. Next week, I'm sure the guest is.
Probably he was busy.
Next week, I'm sure my guest is gonna be on Skype, because she was the one who thought about keeping the show going with Skype, and that's Ray Jamern, who is the Hudson District Director for the ARRL. So she'll be calling in, and we'll have a chat with her, and maybe at the beginning in the early part of the show we will be taking you live off the air on K1FFK.
And your tablet was telling you.
Tablet was saying, hey, we're done for today, and maybe do some on-air people getting a hold of us on air on K1FFK.
Cool.
We tried that before in the studio and couldn't get a signal, but we got a signal here. Oh, by the way, our picnic, I think, is still going to go. I think by July we'll be pretty much out of the woods with this. So the section picnic for Western Massachusetts for all the licensed ham radio operators is Bring Your Own Dish. It's going to be actually here at my house, and if all this is said and done and over, we're going to actually possibly have a couple of surprises for you. I won't say what they are right now until we get things sealed in, but possibly a couple of surprises, at least one big surprise. And as we get that figured out and get the logistics done, we'll let you know that. But that's July 18th. We should all be allowed back out to play.
You assume.
By July.
You assume.
See, we're trying to keep a little bit of normalcy here. Everybody working at home.
What is normal? You speak up.
And we're working at home here doing the show.
I was never normal.
We have 8 minutes. We made it.
Ooh, I was never normal. What is this normal you speak of? I've been normal since the day I was born.
Yeah. It's funny that this thing died here, but it doesn't die when we're at the studio, and it sits for 3 hours. But whatever.
I don't know. It decided to go. You know what? I've had enough. But surprisingly, mine is still charged. Go figure.
You want to do this show alone next week?
Nah, I'm good. I'm just trying to figure out yours. Dead as a doornail. Mine still at 75%.
All right, next week Jessie will be here doing the show by herself.
No, I will not. Do not throw me under the bus.
So you will not be hearing me.
Oh, you're funny.
See all this beautiful stuff that's lit up? You're going to have to learn how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay.
Hey, we still have to throw each other under the bus. It's part of our job. Part of our job is to throw each other under the bus. We got to do
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
So there.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them! Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness!
As you know, I was a Sith. Come to the dark side, we have cookies.
Okay, you're listening to Ham On WTBR FM. We're working without a guest here, so we're kind of winging the last few minutes of the show.
You know what? In this day, around this time, you have to unwind. You have to go ahead and crack jokes. You know. All this stuff is giving people undue stress. You have to relax.
And without Susie here, maybe we get Susie on Skype and she can Skype her way in here.
And Skype throw you under the bus.
Hopefully we will be.
Sorry.
Hopefully one of us will be back next week. Hopefully sooner than later we'll actually be back in the WTBR studios. This is kind of fun doing this at home. This is actually the first time this show has been done at home. The Beatles show started at home, and then they said, you want to come into the studio and come do it, which will air, since we're taping the show on a Monday, the Beatles show will air Monday at 4 p.m. And might be some surprises in there.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good list on them.
If anybody wants to request
we both come up with some really good lists.
And if anybody wants to request anything, you can go to the Beatles Forever Facebook page. Facebook page and put a request in, and we'll get the request going. 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes. We made the show and no guest called in. 5 minutes. We're just kind of winging the last 5 minutes and just we're having fun. We're trying to keep you entertained. Maybe forget about what's going on around you for at least an hour of radio. So we really didn't have a set script or a set format.
Well, you know how Matt and the guys say, for the love of radio. So
yeah, we're keeping it going. And we're going to be here doing this show till God knows when. So many things we could do, but next week we will have a guest, and we'll spend a half an hour talking to her. Our format's kind of changed a little bit. We want to put out more information as things progress, both locally with the coronavirus and amateur radio wise. At least there's some good news that more people are getting their licenses. So be one of those people, study up, and as soon as we get some information on how we can do a online VE session, we'll put that out. But anybody that's ready to take their test and wants to be pointed in the right direction to take their test, hamtestonline.com. ARRL.org has some stuff you can look into. I can't talk.
That's all, folks. Thanks, Porky.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening. I know the show's been kind of wild. We did most of this on the fly because, like I said, Bob Heil did not call in, so we did not have our guest. But next week we will have a guest. We're keeping the show going. We're I think one of the 2 or 3 shows that are actually still on WTBR FM that's making new shows. Anything of interest you want to talk about or any questions thereabouts, drop me an email, kd2jkv@arrl.net, and we will get that out to you. And we hope that you enjoyed the little bit difference in the format and that we kept you going for an hour here.
Yeah.
We did it. We made it through the hour. So we will see you next week. Well, you won't see us, but we won't see you. But we'll hear you next week.
Well, you can hear us next week.
And remember, for those watching on 1301 on PCTV, there is no video. So it's going to be an audio only show. So on behalf of Peter
and Jessica,
we will see you next week on Ham On, and everybody be safe, stay home, and listen to the radio.
Bye, everybody.